Welcome to Sippy Cup Sapphire, a ROM hack made by Pinky J that seeks to create a unique challenge run experience of the original Pokemon Sapphire. Today I'll be taking it on in a hardcore Nuzlocke, but here's what you need to know about the game first. The starters have been slightly modified. One might even say they got better. Don't worry, you can find Trico and Mudkip in other places throughout the game. Rare candies are sold at the Pokemart, but be careful about over-leveling. Many of the route trainers that used to be optional are now placed in mandatory positions. Building off that, some of them form gauntlets, where you can't heal in between fights. And finally, there are no stat changes, type changes, or legendaries placed in random fights throughout the hack. These are things that tend to cause controversy in the comment section. This hack builds difficulty in other ways, as we'll explore soon. With all of that established, I think it's time to begin our attempt at the bag. In case anyone is curious what our rule set is for this challenge, pause the video here to see. Last video, y'all gave me hell for saying that Generation 5 had some horrid starters. In this game, the starters are way better. And by way better, I mean demonstrably worse. I love that the creator elected to keep Torchic as an option because the region with too much water just swallows it up. Usually you take Mudkip here, as that water ground typing matches up well against the first 4 gyms. Surskit doesn't do that. Give me Seedot. It matches up against the rock gym well, and we'll have a bunch of encounters by the time we get there anyways. Real quick, there is no sponsor to this video. If you wanted to subscribe to help me continue to make these videos, that would be super helpful. Likes and comments also super appreciated. The game opens up like normal, except we don't have any attacking moves. I mean, Bide works, but that move's so scary. Locking myself into doing nothing for 2 turns is whack. I was actually curious to find out if we could successfully grind levels with this learn set. We can! Take that, Wurmple. If I'm gonna use rare candies, I like to make sure that's just a time save and not a crutch. Taking on Brendan at level 6, we died because Seedot sucks. It's okay, according to the Nuzlocke rules, technically we hadn't started our run yet as we hadn't received Pokeballs. I tried again at level 7. Ty conquered the chicken this time and our attempt was officially underway. Back to the lab for Pokeballs, I stopped into the mart to grab more capsules, as well as purchase some artificial growth hormones. Now you'll notice this little patch of water in Littleroot. It's actually got some cool stuff in it, but we don't have a fishing rod yet, so we'll come back later. Also, there's no grass on Route 101. Many new encounter pools were added. This is the only location in the game where an encounter was removed. Our first 2 encounters that we acquired were Swablu and Azurill. And you might be thinking, oh no, a friendship evolution. We're gonna have to run around aimlessly forever until it evolves. Pokemon don't evolve in this hack. We were gonna have to rely on these little baby guys to carry us the whole way through. With a level cap of 15, I decided it was safe to bring everyone to level 12 and voyage on. And there are small changes to this first route. The trainers are the same, but they've been moved ever so slightly to make them impossible to skip. Through that route, you still meet with Dad and have to follow Wally into the grass to catch his first Pokemon. Once you're done with that, you can move west where the changes begin to get a little more drastic. First of all, Gongus the Pichu, welcome to the team. Now we see a little gated double battle. This isn't a custom fight. The 2 trainers from the original route were just relocated to this point. And it's not a double battle, but rather a back-to-back fight against 2 relatively basic trainers. Gongus zapped us through the first battle, and DJ pecked us out of the second. And in Petalburg Woods, we got an electric encounter. Metaphorically, it's actually the complete opposite of an electric type. But look, adding this guy to the lineup meant we had access to the highest attack stat available in the entire game. Ignore the rest of the stats below it. We don't need to look at those. An Aqua Grunt perished at the hands of Swablu, and we enter the second half of Route 104. Oh, hello. More important than these 2 nobodies, the kid on the left here still gives us the Bullet Seed TM. Is it the 10 base power Bullet Seed from hell that absolutely blows? Maybe, but my Seedot had no grass moves yet, so I'll take what I can get. Once in Rustboro, I tried heading east to grab another encounter, only to find the world manipulated to embrace an actual unescapable gauntlet built on trees and ledges. My encounter would have to wait. Rock Sand season, baby. Don't be fooled by this next fight, which was very easy. The reason this fight is easy is because you're supposed to have a weak team for Roxanne, even in the standard games. Any baby grass or water type has always swept this gym. As we go on, teams will introduce higher base stat total Pokemon, and they'll have coverage moves to fry our poor little Ty the Seedot here. But for now, Ty was the star of the show. Good Bullet Seeds, guy. We acquired our first badge. So about that gauntlet. East of Rustboro is a collection of 3 back-to-back battles, which I relied on Gongus, DJ, and Ty to close. Once at the entrance to Rusturf Tunnel, I got an Incada. Then I grabbed our token Whismur encounter, which is not the only encounter in the cave. I just got super unlucky, defeated the Aqua Grunt to save Pico, and took the northern section of this route back to Rustboro. The concept of making a game more challenging by modifying the landscape and managing resources is really cool, and we're going to see a lot more of that moving forward. I will continue to be diligent about snagging these berries too. Any help we can get is so invaluable. Back in Rustboro, we are thanked for saving the Devon goods with the kind gesture of giving me more work to do. Yeah, no, I wanted to deliver this letter, actually. There is an optional rival fight here. No thanks. Also, in Rustboro, there are 2 important items in the Cut HM and Quick Claw, so make sure you collect those. Off to Dewford with the wind in my hair and my eyes on the prize. Brawly dropped us at the docks. We collected the silk scarf and a Natu named Prita. Then we embarked on our spelunking endeavors. In this cave, we got a Bagon. Its stats aren't great, but the dragon type before the introduction of the fairy type was so powerful. Surely Vixento was going to do something this run. We found Steven and promptly left the cave to take on Brawly's gym. I don't think I've ever actually played through Pokemon Sapphire, but the gym was slightly different than the version in Pokemon Emerald, so I was navigating it blind. It doesn't matter because most gym trainers are mandatory in this hack, as they were in the dojo. With Natu steering the ship, however, we were unstoppable. Look at this little P go. Sure, Prita only knew Peck. It's a super effective move against fighting types, but that was going to be enough to take on Brawly's team of 2, right? Right? Well, Machop heard me talking smack and started bulking up instantly, and even healed when I got its HP low enough. Prita was trying her hardest, but I didn't account for the damage output of Seismic Toss. This terrible toddler was being carried by these illegal potions. Look, I didn't bring salts to this fight, and neither should he. Dealing with the cards that were dealt and the fact that my P had 1 HP left, I swapped into DJ on Karate Chop and fired off a 55% accurate Sing. Oh yeah, that song's silky. 3 turns of sleep led to Machop's demise, and the dojo captain centered himself. Arm thrust hit, and then hit, and then hit. Please. Okay, we got DJ out of there and sent in Gongus to paralyze and charm it. And I know some of you picked up on this immediately. No, this is not a Guts Makuhita. We were in good position. Gongus went crazy on the final chunky boy. Thundershock punched our ticket through, and that was badge number 2. And now things picked up. Because at this point in the game, you're supposed to have your middle stage starter and maybe some early game final evolutions like Lanoon or Mightyena. To help out, we ventured to Slateport Beach to clear the new fight structures and did a little fishing sim. Welcome to the team, Feebas, Magikarp, Goldeen, Tentacool, and Love Disc. Reminder that none of these are evolving. I don't know what to do with these 2 at all. Also, welcome in Lilycove, who we fished out of Slateport City, and Alex Y the Gulpin from Route 110. I'm letting you know her name because she's the most important encounter we just added to our team. God, I love Gulpin. Pichu swept the Aqua Grunts in the museum, so we were able to talk to Stern and progress forward. And that meant moving north, baby. We're headed to Wattson. But first, a chill little back-to-back against 2 random route trainers. Introducing Magnemite. And why am I introducing Magnemite exactly? Magnemite has a really great defensive typing, weak to only fire, fighting, and ground. Not only do I have none of these types on my team, but Magnemite gets access to one of the most broken moves in the early game, Sonic Boom. Draining 20 HP no matter what meant that all of my Pokemon were dead in 3 turns always. With no way to take them down easily, I had to come up with something. So here's what I did. I sent in Alex Y, who only had Sludge as an offensive move, and used Yawn to sleep the guy. I then sent in Natu on Thundershock to Nightshade the monster twice. Oh, there's another one. And Alex Y is hurting herself in confusion instead of yawning. Excellent. Oh, and we're missing Sing. Great. At least we hit the second time. And then I used my only ground move, Sand Attack, from Victoria the Nincada to drop its accuracy and hopefully help us out long term. Gongus dropped to 1 HP, and DJ got confused on the switch-in, hurting herself in confusion as Magnemite missed Tackle. DJ hurt herself again, but Sonic Boom missed too? This was a catastrophe. After all that, DJ finally got her act together and landed a Sing on the magnet. From there, I sent Prita in and smashed Nightshade. At least we get to heal now, or not. Chatter, we cooked. The Leap's health went fast, and Prita got poisoned on the switch-in. I'm glad Nightshade dropped Tentacool, but now what? Water Gun did over half of DJ's health, and I knew Sing was a risk, but I had to do something. I missed. It growled? Round 2, baby. Give me that Sing. I ran out of PP. It was just Fury Attack. That was my only option. And after being growled, I was gonna need insane luck. Immediate crit into a 3-spot. Wailmer growled again, keeping me alive. And on the next attack, we landed 1 hit, a crit, another hit, and then another crit. This is the second most fraudulent gameplay you'll see in this run. I'm so sorry, it gets worse. I sent in Victoria to deal with the next tentacle and was absolutely rewarded. Scratch 2-shotted the first one and the second one, and this bloody and battered team was out deathless. That wasn't even a boss fight, that was 2 random trainers. I learned my lesson about Magnemites without getting punished and prepared much better moving forward. Leading with Preto really trivialized the upcoming Magnemite fights, and it was time to take on our rival. I won't lie, I meant to heal before this battle, but it is what it is. Nightshade did all right against Wailmer, but it started rolling out and Preto was not rocking with that. Alex Y stepped in to sludge it, taking it and the ensuing Shroomish down. She might have been able to take down Combuskin if it weren't for that teeny tiny Ember crit on the opener, but it didn't matter because Jack the Love Disc splashed us through anyways. Into Mauville, we throttled Wally's team and tried to enter the gym, but there were Pikachus guiding the entrance. I looked around for things to do and recognized that the casino was closed, as was the Rock Smashed House guy. And then I found something to do. Look at this gauntlet. Holy smokes. The big issue with this gauntlet isn't that there's a ton of difficult trainers on it, but rather 2 things. One, we were gonna have to manage our experience very aggressively, as I hadn't accounted for fighting every trainer on this route. And 2, we were gonna have to manage our power points because these trainers are known for having so many Pokemon. We could just run out of moves throughout it. But hey, can't get over it, can't go under it, gotta go through it. And we did. It wasn't easy. We burned potions in between fights and had to switch our leads a few times, but our 3 emerging stars in Preeta, Jack, and Alex Y delivered the goods. We added a Volbeat to the team, as well as a Shroomish in Verdanturf, and we tried the gym again. No dice. We're still locked out? At this point, I discovered something new. Reading. Yeah, so it turns out that if you talk to the guy in the corner next to the Pikachus that you're trying to get past, he tells you what to do next. Off to the Windstraight house, baby. This gauntlet is mandatory and we were coming for all of it. With our level cap situation in a bit of disarray, I had Kayla the Goldeen open for us, and to his credit, he cleared not 1, not 2, but 3 trainers in that gauntlet. And then he took a high jump kick to the dome, and that was that. It's a level 18 Metatite. How am I supposed to see that coming? Whatever. Joel the Tentacle took it down, we got Rock Smash from inside the house, and it was Wattson time. And Wattson's team was scary with 2 of those pesky magnet guys trying to play spoiler to my Sippy Cup Sapphire attempt 1 victory. But never fret, they call me the plan guy. I opened with Ali the Shroomish, and Magnemite used Thundershock the first turn, which paralyzed us and then fully paralyzed us. Then Magnemite confused Ali with Supersonic, and Ali stayed fully paralyzed. Sonic Boom, fully paralyzed. At least Sonic Boom missed the next time, and we got off a Leech Seed. Say what you want about my plan. We had a path to success now. We even snapped out of confusion and landed a Stun Spore on the magnet. Because in Generation 3, yes, you can paralyze electric types. If Wattson was really gonna make this an RNG battle, he better know who he's up against. No, yeah, Magnemite stopped being able to land moves, and Wattson's sad attempt to heal it only meant Ali had more HP to sop up with Leech Seed. Get noggined into the grave, Magnet guy. Oh, Voltorb next? As long as it does. Are you kidding me? Ali is the GOAT though, so take that. The only issue is that I was absolutely counting on Ali to set up a Leech Seed on this magnet as well, and at 1 HP and paralyzed, Ali was in a brutal position to make that happen. I sent in Ty, who did not eat Shockwave well, which is unfortunate because that was a move he resisted. I sent in my only ground type in Chad to help out, and used the mighty powerful ground move Sand Attack. Sonic boomed down to just 18 HP. Chad capped off his heroic efforts by punting himself into the grave. The legendary 18 HP self-hit went crazy. I sent in Alex Y to hopefully sleep it, which ended up working out as I got Vixento in on a Thunder Wave while it snoozed. Veer was a great move that did not help much in this particular situation. Nevertheless, the magnet stayed sleeping for 4 turns until it woke and fired off a Shockwave, and then it confused her, and she hurt herself in confusion. This was going excellent. Alex Y swapped back into Yawn, and Toki the Volbeat made its debut. Fun fact, Volbeat, not an electric type. Shockwave does a lot of unresisted damage. Confuse Ray made me feel better, and Quick Attack was slowly chipping away at the sleeping beast. It finally woke and hurt itself in confusion. It was getting so low. Our chance was coming. So that's actually crazy to do right now. Toki got Shockwave crit moments later, becoming the second casualty of Magneton. Alex Y switched into Yonnet, and I made the biggest gamble I've made all game. Hard switch into Ali. The Magneton missed Supersonic, letting us in for free and allowing us to plant a Leech Seed. Ty went crazy on him, bullet seeding its health one by one, sapping HP with Leech Seed at the end of each turn. This Acorn might not be strong or good, but I needed someone to rescue me, and this guy showed up. Magneton passed away. Thank you for the badge, and shout out to Ty. Stellar performance. We picked up Metatite and Slugma before stopping in Grandma's house for a heal. Now, if you look at this map of Hoenn, you'll see this long stretch of gameplay connecting Route 111 to Rustboro City. Yeah, that whole thing is a gauntlet. Enter from Route 111, you'll get your encounter first, in our case, Stoduo, and then you end up here. You'll notice trainers who would normally be scattered throughout the route. There's actually more beyond the ones you can see here, before you're finally freed from their grip by defeating the Ninja Boy. You get a protein though, and in a game with no EVs acquirable through grinding, a protein's kind of a hell of a prize. Once in Petalburg, you might think, oh, there's a Pokemon Center, time to heal. Wrong. Doors are locked, you have to just keep going. And there are a lot of battles in between Petalburg and Rustboro. We kept knocking them out one by one, picking up the Person Berries along the way to Meteor Falls. We also added a Spoink and a Ralts to the team. Team Aqua and Magma yelled at each other inside this cave. This Cosmo guy was sad, and we left through the south entrance because that was my only way out. I had no other choice. I knew I'd get jumped as soon as I left this falls too, but there was no getting around it anyways. Through the final 3 fights, we took no deaths. We had escaped and took a Lum and Citrus Berry with us. The next step was venturing to the top of Mount Chimney, where we dethroned the mighty Archie, using Joel as our closing act. Jagged Pass gifted us a Nose Pass, and clearing the mini gauntlet at the bottom meant a gift why not from the nice lady in Lava Ridge. We had arrived at Flannery. I don't think I have 3 Pokemon in my box right now capable of surviving a sun-boosted overheat from Torkoal. I had no idea how we were going to navigate this, so I kind of went in planless. I opened with Joel exclusively because it had the highest damaging water move available, and it still didn't one-tap Slugma. We plowed through the sun going up, a heal, and a smog turn by just smashing the A button to try and down it with Bubble Beam. It wasn't until turn 4 that we finally defeated a Molten Slug. Oh look, it's Molten Slug 2, Electric Boogaloo. Excellent. Ironically, we were able to wrap that guy up in just 2 hits. This was perfect because the sun went down and we were able to hit Torkoal with real damage. Torkoal then body slam crit our squid into the dirt. That's on me, Joel. You deserved better than that. Great work, guy. I sent in Tago the Nose Pass to try and chip it, and things went insanely well. Thunderwave ensured we were faster, and Rock Slide powered home some flinches for us en route to a Nose Pass Clappin'. With 4 badges in hand, only 1 badge remained until the world opened up a lot, so we traveled there. On the way home to Norman, we picked up 2 encounters in Baltoy and Anorith. You can get both fossils from the desert if you defeat a small group of trainers that are blocking it. It's definitely worth checking out if you decide to play through. We also did some housekeeping, pocketing the Miracle Seed from this nice lady in the Petalburg Woods. Tago swept the gym trainers, and we were face to face with Dad. I would argue that this team is just as hard, maybe harder than the team Norman uses in Emerald. 2 670 base stat total normal types is wild. Still, there's no denying that Protect is an incredibly efficient way to navigate the non-truant turns. And Matt the Anorith was privy to this, dishing damage and ducking behind those Protects. Eventually though, in large part due to Norman healing his Sloth, our goat ran out of Protects and started tanking Facades at face value. At 40 HP, I risked Matt's life on a Facade. Of course, my bugged brethren pulled through though, what a menace. Vigoroth out next, I asked Tago to win the 1v1. Paraflinch hacks went crazy. I'm realizing now that the guy had Facade the whole time and just never clicked it. Not my circus, not my sloths, or whatever the expression is. No, yeah, this slash that Vigoroth landed on Nate absolutely would have knocked me out if it was Facade instead. King the Leap finished it, and only the final Slaking was left. I did not know that this Slaking had Focus Punch, but I did click Confuse Ray, so I was hoping maybe we could survive this. And that is exactly what happened. Getting Jack in to charm it, attract it, and start water gunning, we found our win condition. No death Normans. It has slack off. I ran out of water guns. I thought about using Toxic with Alex Y, which would have guaranteed a win at the expense of probably most of our team. Instead, I slammed Yawn and got King back into Ingrain, Confuse Ray, and Spam Acid. And Acid got a brilliant number of defense drops. Between the Acid chip damage and hurting itself in Confusion, King was too much, and we had our 5th badge. Surf Sim, baby, look at me. I'm a little guy in the water doing little guy in the water stuff. We got so many encounters, including Voltorb, Psyduck, and Zigzagoon, and even a Duskull from the abandoned ship. And the route north to the Weather Institute was littered with fights, but none posed a serious threat. No, it wasn't until we met Shelly at the helm of the building that we finally saw some pushback from our opponents. Honestly, calling what Shelly did pushback is a little bit of embellishment. Elise soloed this fight with Mega Drain, Leech Seed, and Stun Spore. At least I delayed this route for Cast Form, the highest base stat total mon available in this whole game. Pinky J, creator of this ROM hack, it's been so fun. Swapping Cast Form out for Beldum, who learns no moves outside of Takedown, is disgusting. What am I supposed to do with this overzealous battery? It doesn't do anything. The rival fight next wasn't a super big deal, as Toyeka the Doduo opened to defeat Whalmer, and Alex Y used Sludge to conquer Shroomish, and Encore to lock Combuskin into bulk ups as it slowly drained the chicken's HP. Jack did swap in to finish it off, but make no mistake, Gulpin led that charge. What a beast. Beyond this route lied Fortree, the gateway to Route 120, and you'll notice I can't run on this route. This is because this location is now coded to be an indoors location, so you can't fly out of this string of trial trainers that come next. I think it's really cool, actually. In the meantime, we got a Trico from the grass and found out that all of the Kecleon encounters have been replaced with Tricos as well. Numel in Scorched Slab wasn't exactly the home run encounter I wanted, but have any of these encounters been that? We arrived at Winona. Winona's team is one of the more wild gym teams in the game with good coverage and variance. My team of babies was going to have to play out of their minds to win this one. Moxie the Voltorb made its debut, sparking Swellow, getting Endeavored, and finishing it the next turn. Altaria walked in immediately. With Earthquake and Dragon Dance, this set is by far the scariest on the whole team. Sending in Pinky J the Spheal to help out, I watched it set up a dance, which had me trembling. Does Aurora Beam kill?
I guess we'll never know.
Thank you, Spheal. Great para on this body slam on Pelipper, by the way, who switched out, which I thought was crazy. I mean, so did I, but you're not supposed to do that. Jack swapped into Spam Surf, and you might notice that it does like no damage. Surf was nerfed to only be worth 40 base power, which I think is fair considering all water types can learn it, but yeah, it doesn't do much. Tago swapped in once Love Disc got a little too low on HP and started paraflinching the bird. It didn't work. Winona healed her hunk of metal, and a second Steelwing had nose pass on the brink of death. I had nothing for this thing. I had to let someone go at some point to regain momentum in this fight. I made a devastating call. Prita, you were an awesome P, buddy. Nightshade did so much damage right there. You should be so proud. Moxie switched back into Spark and cleared both of the remaining mons. We were through. Shout out to our P. The gauntlet on the way to Lilycove wasn't too hard as we paved our way through the rainforest and into the Harborside City. I took on the little baby test to get into the Safari Zone, and it was here that I realized I never grabbed the Pokeblock case. Yoink. And in the Safari Zone, we found Roselia. Geodude and Coughing joined the team as well as we thwarted Team Aqua's plans at the top of Mount Pyre. We then went to Slateport, where the bad guys were plotting to steal a submarine. We watched them get away in real time. Back in Lilycove, where we acquired the ever-elusive Staryu, I plowed through Team Aqua's hideout to find Admin Matt as the final boss. Matt's team has a Carvanha, Sharpedo, and Mightyena on it. If I told you that one member of my roster was going to sweep the entire fight, who would you guess it was? I'll give you 5 seconds to lock in your answer. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If you guessed Alex Y the Gulpin, you guessed right. It just learned Sludge Bomb, and with a little level advantage, it outsped Carvanha, one-shot Sharpedo after the Poison Chip, and never hurt itself in Confusion as it downed Mightyena. Okay, yeah, Gulpin was 7 levels higher than the opposing team, I still think that's impressive. It's a gulpin, okay? I don't care what you all say. The route to Moss Deep was so clear, and Taytonliza stood as the next roadblock in our Elite Four challenge. It was game time. Taytonliza is one of the scariest fights in the history of the franchise in Pokemon Emerald. In Pokemon Sapphire, with only Lunatone and Solrock, the only reason this fight is scary is because my team is fun-sized. I played bold, hoping to secure the victory with aggressive plays early. After taking a Psychic from Solrock, Lunatone set up a Calm Mind and Emmy laid a Curse on Lunatone. Expecting the double target, I got Beldum in there to be useful for exactly one fight. Look how well our guy ate those Psychics. Lunatone was on a 4-turn clock, and when Lunatone slammed Beldum with a Hypnosis, the game was finally over. Solrock fried Beldum with Flamethrower, and Peanut encored the Lunatone into spamming Hypnosis. I sent in Moxie, sparking the Lunatone to make sure that Curse took it over the hump into the grave. Solrock's Flamethrower on Peanut was delicious to the young legend, and that Mirror Coat rocked the Floaty Stone not once, but twice. That might be one of the luckiest but most fun Taytonliza fights I've ever had. I stopped into Steven Stone's house to claim the Dive HM and ventured south to see where I needed to go. Of course, in classic Sippy Cup fashion, every trainer that has ever lived is creating a barricade to block the way. I knocked their socks off with my sweet moves and then dove behind them. Under the water, I found the Pokemon. Neato. More importantly, I found Seafloor Cavern, where the bad guys were hanging out. After pushing some rocks around, I made my way to Shelly, who we smacked with Peanut. The final bad guy fight was here. Archie, let's throw down, pal. The fight was actually very tame outside of the bludgeoning that Sharpedo did to Roselia. It's fine. Roselia can be an Elite Four bring in Pokemon Emerald where the champion's a water type, but in Sapphire, when it's Steven Stone, the steel type trainer, not really. Kyogre got real mad, left for Setopolis where we met Steven Stone and Wallace, and a quick stop into the Cave of Origin to grab Talo and stop Meryl from drowning the world was enough to open up the 8th gym for us. This is probably the single hardest battle in the entire game, if I'm being honest with you. Let me break it down for you. Here are Wallace's 5 Mons. Not only are they all bulky, but the Ice-type coverage moves make any Grass-type leverage moot. My fun-sized Grass types were not tanking an Ice Beam, no shot. Moreover, there are 5 of them. I needed to find one Pokemon to clear each one, or one to clear a majority of them. After a quick brainstorming session, here's what I came up with. I led with Trico, who hadn't seen any playing time up to this point, but Mega Drain did just enough work to justify bringing her in. A second Mega Drain sunk the fish and invited out Celio. Part of me wanted to test how well Izzy could tank an Aurora Beam, but I picked up PP the Corsola outside a couple hours ago, and I thought it would be dumb to not use the exact right Pokemon for this job. Alternating between Rock Smash and Recover, I don't think I got a single defense drop against this Seal, and because of that, I ran out of Recover PP, got critical hit, and had to switch out. Fun fact, Izzy does survive one Aurora Beam, and now we're in Overgrow, which boosts Grass-type moves by 50% whenever the user is below 1/3 of their total HP, so Izzy buried the Seal, and I sent in Jack to counter Milo. This was not a good matchup. It is insane to me how much utility I actually got out of Jack throughout this playthrough. I mean, the surf damage was just pitiful. I chose to let Jack go here as I thought Peanut was our best ticket to victory if it walked in fully healthy. And Mirror Coat did it. Are you kidding? Of course, Milo healed the next turn, and while I loved Peanut's efforts, we all knew this second Mirror Coat wasn't going to do the monster in. When in doubt, send Gulpin out. This guy, Alex Y, delivered a Sludge Bomb Pie, causing Milo to die. I feel like a 4th grader learning how rhyming works. Also, Whiscash is a slippery, slimy Yuckmon allergic to seeds, and Seaking was bulky, but not nearly powerful enough to threaten my second favorite starter of all time. Okay, actually, it got really close, but we can ignore that. Okay, the big fish perished. That was all 8 badges, but there was still a lot to do. The prep work for this Elite Four is simple once you know the Elite Four, so let me break down each fight and what we're hoping to do real quick. Sydney is the dark type leader, being super underleveled. Any fighting type is sweeping through this one as long as you navigate the opening Intimidate. Phoebe is next and has 2 very chunky Dusclops spearheading her threats. Find a way to one-shot those guys and we have a ticket. Glacia is a demon, but the opening Glalie is always sending hail first turn. Encore it and build a sweeping play to survive. Drake hates ice types, specifically ones faster than Salamence in the back. With Shelgon opening and likely to use Protect first turn, there's almost always an opportunity to encore and set up. And I'll be honest, guys, I've never planned for a Steven fight. I'm kind of excited to just get there and figure it out as we go. We'll see what happens. There's a patch of grass outside of Evergrande City in which we can find a small pool of Pokemon. I knocked out Talo and Roselia and circled back to a couple of encounters I hadn't acquired already to Pocket, Surskit, and Lotad. This meant guaranteed Plusle or Minun, which we cashed in on to ensure that we had a fast Encore user for the Elite Four. Look, I'll bring Plusle and Minun into a standard run of the Hoenn games through the Elite Four, okay? So to see them in this hack available was super encouraging. In Victory Road, I acquired a Sableye, who was just the second ghost type I've been able to add to my team this run. I also found a back-to-back battle guarding an item called the Choice Band, which felt like a pretty sweet prize. And while there were so many other trainers in a slightly different Hoenn Victory Road than I'm used to, it was Wally who took the prize for the most dangerous opponent by a country mile. The guy has a fully evolved and diverse team, okay? There's only so much my babies can do here. We countered Altaria with Pinky J, Aurora beaming Altaria and inviting out Roselia. I was feeling ambitious and tried rolling a Blizzard. I missed. Roselia sent a Leech Seed out, and I got greedy once more. I should not have stayed in. There was no reason to. Magical Leaf hit. Pinky J's HP went quick until she survived and hit Blizzard and knocked out the Roselia. For what it's worth, I would have removed Pinky J from the battlefield if Leech Seed didn't just knock her out the next turn. Victoria finished the Magneton with Mud Slap, Tago Paraflinched the Delcatty, and Flygon HG Shadow Balled the Gardevoir. We had defeated Wally. Welcome to the Elite Four. Now we had a little bit of preparation to do because there are resources hidden throughout this map. There are 15 HP up, 12 protein, 13 iron, 17 calcium, 11 zinc, and 14 carbos hidden throughout the map. Some of them I collected during my playthrough, others I had to go back and collect. Each of these items boosts a stat ever so slightly, which can be the difference between outspeeding an opponent or speed tying it, or getting the knockout versus leaving it with a sliver of HP left. These items were super important. After a while of traveling the Hoenn region, I made my team. Leading the way, it would be JP the Plusle, the Zappy Encore bot that I expected to lead most fights. Flygon HG the Sableye would make the cut, promising to do buckets of damage to everyone with its stab Shadow Balls. Emmy the Duskull was on the team for good vibes. Remember that Tate and Liza curse play? Epic stuff. Squirk the Staryu was repping for our speedy Ice Beamer role. Nate the Metatype made a surprise appearance, but I needed a fighting type for that first throwdown with Sydney, and she's who I had. And finally, Peanut the Wynot. Just a hell of an anchor. Need a bailout? Send Wynot in. Without further ado, let me show you the Sippy Cup Sapphire Elite Four. Sydney opened with Mightyena and I opened with JP. Immediately I thought to myself, what if I just launched a Thunder and smoked it? How fun would that be? A good call on my part. I enjoyed it a lot. Cactur and Cotton spored me next, so I had JP Encore trap it so Nate could get in and high jump kick for free. That bludgeoned Cacturn and invited out Absol. Admittedly, I was a little nervous about Aerial Ace here, as well as the prospects of Absol setting up. It did set up, and then it passed away. Sharpedo in now. I thought about switching JP back in, but I thought the slow Metatite sweep angle was a little funnier and deployed yet another high jump kick. No, yeah, that also worked. I thought Shiftry would fake out first turn, so I had Nate detect. It did not. It opted to double team. The great part about this is that it double teamed again the next turn, and I still had the gall to launch a high jump kick into its chest, which paid off. That was the entire fight. I beat a whole fifth of the Elite Four with that cheese. The next fight was against Phoebe, and I'd love to pretend that this was a more complicated affair, but after feeding Flygon HG speed and strength steroids and equipping the Choice Band, Sableye outsped and one-shot every Pokemon on the opposing team. I mean, outside of her own Sableye, which faltered in 2 shots, but I digress. Look at this beatdown. No, Glacia would be the first real test to our team. We did get the hail first turn as expected, and Encore put us in position. I agility'd once, I baton passed, I bulked up once, and Encore ran dry. It was go time. Now, high jump kick is a 90% accurate move, which means we have a 60% chance of landing it 5 consecutive times. And after one bulk up, we only have a 12.5% chance of killing that bulky Walrein in the back. That gives this plan a grand total of a 7% chance to work out if everything goes correct. Let's try it. We did hit Glalie number 1, and against the next Glalie that came out, we also hit. The third opponent was Celio, who we also hit. And then we faced another one. which we hit. And then the big Walrein walked out. I know that we'd gotten super lucky in this fight so far, but this Walrein was the big challenge of the fight. With no guaranteed kill here and really bad matchup problems behind our Metatite, we needed this one. And we landed it. And we slowly watched as Walrein's HP dropped and dropped and dropped. I was in awe. Sure, Nate was jacked up with vitamins, but this was an incredible performance. Drake was the second to last fight in the whole game. What was the plan? Similar to the last one, I opened with JP to agility. While Rock Tomb dropped our speed by 1 stage, I only needed that first boost. When Shelgon protected the next turn, I knew it was over because Squirk was holding the Never Melt Ice and combined that with a maximized special attack stat. This goofy looking starfish speared not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5 dragons back to back to back to back to back. It is such a rewarding feeling seeing this kind of success out of little mons with a good plan. And with just Steven Stone ahead of us, I forced my team to stomach the rest of the vitamins and entered the building guns blazing. Steven Stone led with Skarmory and I led with JP. With nothing to lose, I ripped a Thunder, punting the bird into the dirt. Aggron walked in next. I sent an Emmy to dodge Earthquake with Levitate and switched JP back in on Dragon Claw. Encore forced this dinosaur to spam that special attack as I landed another Thunder just for fun. Full restore, Steven? Really? Now? Another Thunder, and this time with a Paralysis partnered. And another one, just cause I can. This Elite Four was so insane. I'm so sorry if you came here for advanced strategies. I know I let you down. I'll be better next time, I promise. Metagross came out, and I just thought that the Thunder thing was hilarious, so I sent it again. We did get a Para, but Psychic was too much, and JP finally fainted. I sent in Peanut to counter it, which, please survive. I'm begging you, please. Thank you. Okay, yeah, counter, clock this thing. Welcome in Kraydilly. I sacrificed Peanut to get Nate in for free, hitting a high jump kick before getting confused, and then landing another one through confusion to secure the defeat of the plant. Armaldo out next. I asked Flygon HG to win the 1v1. She did not. Armaldo lived on 1 HP. And that was that. At least Squirk did massive damage with Ice Beam, and Hydro Pump served as an absolute cannon to knock it out. The final opponent for this challenge was Claydol. Claydol set up a light screen, and even got me to miss a Hydro Pump. I even ran out, so all I could fire off was Ice Beams. But eventually, light screen ended, and Claydol had nothing left in the tank. Squirk pulverized the final mon, and we had secured our victory. That was Sippy Cup Sapphire. Thank you for watching my video. Subscribe if you want. Shout out to our Patreon subscribers, Simone, DJ, Victoria, Kiri, Tyler, Chad, and Grant, our VIP Plus subscribers. You guys are the best.